So good morning. So our topic today is quieting our inner worrier, not warrior, worrier. All right. So our mantra this morning is, I am safe at this very moment. I am safe at this very moment. This was really big for me. I don't know if some of you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and I had chosen this topic long before this happened, but it was always we worry about things. And I was in Buffalo this weekend, and there was a horrific mass shooting there. And I really had to channel a lot of what I'm going to share today, because our hotel was 10 minutes away from the top supermarket where the people were shot and killed. And so really just not getting myself into overwhelm and over worry and creating catastrophe and really awful things, and also really acknowledging my feelings and what it was triggering and all of these things. So I think today is, we all have those moments where something can really make us feel super worried, but we're going to talk mostly about chronic worry today. So worry is a debilitating emotional state that uses a lot of our energy and halts us from taking action for fear of making a mistake or being judged harshly by ourselves or others. By definition, worry is giving way to unease by allowing one's mind to dwell on difficulties or troubles. Right? So we spend a lot of time just in the place where we think everything is challenging or hard, or we can't figure this thing out. Worry is experienced from a concern about a real or an imagined issue that can be personal, like finances or health, like personal health, or external, like politics or the environment. Whatever the issue, when worry becomes a regular way of operating, so then we know anxiety takes over and we feel this deeply in our bodies, right? So this is this chronic piece, which can feel like as if it's our state of being, right? Worry. So the first question I want to ask you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, you can put this in the chat. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of your day do you feel is spent worrying? Put your number in the chat. I'm going to open that. And remember that all the numbers are personal, right? So someone's 7 is not the same as your 7. So don't worry about what anyone else is writing. It's just good information for you to have a sense of where you are on the worry scale. Good, excellent. And so we have some worriers and some warriors. Is that a hand up to speak? Go ahead, Claudette. Or is it a high five? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. So how does your worry affect your daily life? How does worry affect your daily life? So if there's someone who wants to speak, you can share it, or you can put it in the chat if you want. How does worry affect you on a daily basis? What does it halt you from doing? Where does it get in the way? Go ahead, Anna.
Hello, good morning, everybody. In my case, I got frozen. I cannot think very clear, and I can not think of solutions, and this is something that is like a snowball. Then you don't think about solutions, you cannot think very clear, and then you get more worried because you cannot see how to get out of that. Yes.
I love all of that. Yeah, so we get really halted, we get stuck, of course, and then there's this piece around lack of clarity. So we start having like multiple thoughts and thinking nothing makes sense, this lack of problem solving because we are flustered. And then, as Anna so perfectly put it, this snowball. We talk about momentum on here a lot. And of course, momentum can go in either direction, right? So when we are in a negative spiral, it builds energy as well. And so then it gets more and more negative, right? I always think something bad will happen. Excellent. It's so true. We get into this mindset that everything is disastrous and we catastrophize life when we get into that space of over worry. It makes my small joy mementos to disappear. Agreed. It's so true. When we are in worry, we're going to talk about joy. It's like we have to deny joy when we're in worry, right? And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. Anna, go ahead.
When I worry about something, I almost become fixated on it. And basically I just zero in on that issue, and I just keep concentrating on it and not thinking about anything else going around. Again, I become fixated and almost to the point where I make myself go crazy sometimes about it.
Yeah, for sure, right? So that fixation is like blinders. Like, it's like all we can see is that little problem. And another thing that we do in that fixation is, so say we have a problem that we're worrying about, like whether or not our finances are gonna make it through the month, right? Which is not a small problem, but it's a specific problem, right? And then all of a sudden we attach another thing to it and another thing to it and another thing to it. So that fixation just grows into all consuming, right? I appreciate that. Thank you. You're putting negative energy out there and it bounces back to you. I know, very hard to change your thoughts, yet you have to. I love that. Exactly. So we keep being attracted to more negativity because we're putting out negativity, right? And so then it feels like everything that's coming to us is more negative, right? And that's because we reflect to the world how we're feeling. So if we're in a worried state, of course, then that's the energy that we're putting out there. That's what people are feeling of us. And so then that's what we receive back, right? And so that flow that we want to be in becomes filled with overwhelm, anxiety, stress, nervousness, and worry. And it feels like you stop living, right? So there's this, so I want to say that we stop thriving for sure, right? We feel very victim focused. We're not even surviving when we're in over worry. And so we stop doing the things that feel like a life that we want. Is that what you meant? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay. All right. So thank you guys. Excellent. So let's just talk about some of the practices that we can put in place so that we can actually start to do you want to speak? Go ahead. Thanks. No problem, Deborah. Go ahead. You can open your mic. Don't worry about putting up your hand.
Good morning.
Morning.
I've just been doing, I listen to you every Monday, and I listen to a lot of other people, and Joe Dispenza is awesome with rewiring your brain. He's helped me immensely.
Good.
But I'm actually getting to the point of realizing how important meditation is, and to be in that zone of nothing and coming back. And if you go back to your old ways, guess what? You come out of meditation and you go to your old ways, you're going to stay the same way. So I'm even getting out of my bed on the opposite side of the bed. I'm doing trying to do everything different now in my life, because I want to change. I want to be a better person. And
I love that.
And I thank you so much, because Monday morning, this is great. It's awesome. And I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for saying that. I love this interruption, right? Part of our energy has to be action-based, right? And so this interruption of things that are just the same, is it Einstein who said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right? And so one of the things that we can do, I love even that simple getting out of bed, seems like nothing. What difference does it make if you get out on the left or right side? But if you've always done something one way, doing something different opens up the space for opportunity for something new. So I really appreciate that as an example of how small an action can be that can make profound change. Thanks, Deborah.
Well,
Okay.
even driving somewhere, you know,
Yeah,
you can,
going a new route.
you know, going the new route and everything. And the
Sure.
other big thing that I've been learning is just when I get up in the morning, just listening when I'm having my coffee, listening to the birds and being thankful of, thank you for having covers and thank you for this bed that I get to sleep in, because there's so many people out there that really are homeless and have nothing. And we are so blessed of having a home to live in and have food to eat. And the more thankful you are and you give that gratitude, you know, it just changes your whole day. I mean, it just bounces back to you immensely.
Yes, it's so transformative. I love it. Thanks, Deborah, so much. And Sandra, I'll add this. You become restless and anxious and want to distract yourself. So you pick up your habits that feel unhealthy and negative, and you don't take any action. You get stuck in inaction. I love those. They're so important because all of these things that we've mentioned, none of them feel good, right? We always start the call with these things so that we can really see just how debilitating, say, worry is, right? And that if we move away from it, if we choose to do something different, these things that we've talked about are going to shift as well, right? Okay, so let's talk about some practices that we can start putting in place. The first one is notice how much you worry. So we did that at the beginning of the call with the rating, right? Rate yourself often. Notice that you're worrying, right? Worrying on occasion is normal and can actually be helpful with problem solving and taking action. So for example, in the incident in the weekend with the Buffalo shooting, I made sure we knew where it was, right? Of course, I'm worried directly for the kids that I'm responsible for because we took some kids with us on my stepdaughter's team. So make sure that they're all safe, make sure I communicate with the people back home so they know I'm safe. Like, so worry made me go into action really quickly, right? Then comes the chronic piece. Do I over worry about this? This could happen in any store I walk into. Is this gonna, am I in danger? Like all of these things when I knew that the shooter had been already apprehended. So then I don't have to now worry that there's going to be like copycats and like, unless that's the news that's coming out. So really notice how much you're worrying. When our worry becomes chronic or we feel life is constantly too stressful and anxiety ridden, it is important that we acknowledge this, right? If we take the time to acknowledge that we're in overwhelm, in over worry, that's going to be our first step. Noticing is everything, right? Self-awareness is so key. So when in coach speak, we talk about this unconscious incompetence. So I don't use incompetence in a way that's like it's not an insult. It's just this idea that something that I want to change, I'm unconscious of. The most important step is that we become conscious of that incompetence, right? That thing that we want to change, that piece that doesn't feel healthy to us. Then we move into conscious competence, which is the practice that we're always putting in place. And then that becomes our unconscious competence. So that becomes our unconscious way of operating. So we have to go through these stages in order to move from one sort of negative to positive practice, right? So if we're in an over worry and we want to get to a state of calm, we have to first notice that we're in over worry. We live in a society where stress and worry are so normalized and too often untreated, right? So people are meant to suffer in silence. It is our responsibility to notice if we are operating in a healthy or unhealthy way. So really take stock, you know, whether you're writing that in a journal, or you're talking to someone or whatever. We're going to talk about ways that you can do that. You know, even just rating yourself every day. Okay, today, you know, at the end of a day, maybe you're rating whether or not you feel like I worried a lot today. Even that little number, today I worried a 3, yesterday I worried a 5, you know, gives you information about how much worry is going on. Number 2, which is something Deborah just shared, be present. Worrying is about future thinking. What if I make a mistake? What if this thing happens? What if this person does this thing, right? We spend all of our time in that. One of the best ways to begin combating chronic worry is to start cultivating mindfulness and mindfulness practices so that you can learn how to be in the present moment, right? We've talked about a lot of these techniques and practices. Some of my favorite practices are deep breathing, right? So I think one of the easiest ones to practice is an equal turning breath. So it's breathing in for say 4, holding for 1 or 2, breathing out for 4, holding for 1 or 2, using your nose, right? And I have one of those videos on YouTube, I think, that has you can breathe with me so that you can practice that. Another really wonderful practice is meditation, right? Or being in nature. They're all excellent ways to help train our minds to be in the here and now. And so when I first started mindfulness practice, I used a practice that was 30 seconds long, which I still do every day and have talked about, is drinking lemon water. So drinking lemon water is great for your health. It's good for your body. But the reason that I started doing it was so that I could practice mindfulness. So every morning when I get the lemon out of the fridge, I kind of like always feel it a little bit. I cut it, I smell the lemon, you know, because it always has a little sprays from when you cut it. I have a special, like a lemon squeezer. So I listen to it. I see how much juice each lemon half makes, you know, each day. I turn on the tap, I feel the water, I put the glass there, fill it up. I feel the water and lemon going down my throat. I really pay attention to all of the things, because that's what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is not something that's like, you know, otherworldly or out there. It's literally about paying attention to what's happening in the moment. So you can be washing dishes and really pay attention to, oh, I'm getting that dirt off, and oh, this fork looks really clean, and oh, I'm putting it here in the dish rack, or whatever it is. You can do it with vacuuming. You can practice mindfulness with everyday chores. It doesn't have to be complicated. You just have to decide to do it, right? So it's about really deciding that that's what you want for yourself, to become more present. And when you become more present, that worry becomes less what you're thinking about, because we don't worry in the present moment. Oh, that's true. I've heard that too. I've been doing it for 10 years in IT. So I'm not sure. I have asked the dentist that too. Sorry, that's directed at me. So there's a message just around lemon water, using a straw, because it can wear off the calcium and enamel on our teeth. I don't know if that's other people have mentioned that to me. I have drank it for 10 years. So hopefully that's, you know, and no dentist has ever said that to me. And I do go to the dentist a lot. So, but absolutely drink it however you want, right? If you want to use a straw, or you want to just drink it, or you just drink warm water. You can do all of the things, right? Thank you. So next is interrupt the cycle of worry. When we're unconscious to the constant worry, we believe it's our natural way, right? For example, people call themselves worry warts, as if worrying is a personality trait. but it is not, right? The more self-aware you are, the easier it is to develop a clear understanding of what is triggering your worry so that you can start to make changes, right? So some examples of personal triggers might include working at a difficult or unfulfilling job, right? And so that's actually the problem, not all the little things, right? Relationship or marital problems. And then you find all these other things to worry about around that so that you don't have to deal with the specific thing. Becoming a new parent, financial concerns, illness, having too many commitments. And so when we can become self-aware about what is the problem that we actually need to solve, a lot of our worry will fall away, because we tend to bring all sorts of things in so that we don't have to deal with bigger life issues, right? And so we use worry as a tool to do that. So interrupt that cycle of worry by getting clear on what it is that you want to solve. Number 4, pay attention to your body. Our bodies are incredible signals to us about whether we are in good health or we feel or things are unhealthy, right? Our bodies are negatively impacted by worrying in the form of stress-related illnesses and ailments, right? So overthinking, exhaustion, and chronic stress, which are all present during overworrying, can result in many physical symptoms. And you know many of these: racing heartbeat, tension, stomach issues, sweating, difficulty concentrating, insomnia, trembling hands, nervousness. So our bodies are always giving us signs that we're in overworry, right? Or stress or overwhelm or exhaustion. So if we can identify those things that our body does specifically and pay attention to symptoms instead of ignoring them. Let's put our hands up if we ignore them. Right? Some of the time, right? You feel sweaty or your heart's racing and you don't do anything about that. Instead, you just keep worrying, right? We will be more likely to acknowledge we are in an extended state of worry and can begin making healthy changes, right? It's an indicator to you that you need to do something different. Your body is literally saying, you are doing too much, stop, right? It's literally telling you this worry is hurting us, right? And so it's this opportunity to pay attention, get really connected to your body, pay attention to it, and then actually do something to stop that symptom, which of course will impact your worry, right? Will stop you from worrying so much. So number 5 is practice relaxation techniques. Relaxation is a crucial part of resting our minds and bodies and soul. It helps us to connect to the present moment. It stops us from having a brain filled with racing thoughts, and it slows us down so our body can be reparative and reduce tension, right? So all of these things, so you have that racing heartbeat or tension in your neck or an upset stomach, practicing a relaxation technique is going to help you to just bring down all of that a little bit, right? Numbing is not the same thing as relaxing. Oftentimes we choose numbing activities like zoning out on a device or drinking alcohol or eating unhealthy comfort foods or flopping on the couch and binging on a TV show, right, to try and combat a stressful day. The problem is that those only cause temporary like patches, right? We feel less connected to our stress in that moment and less connected to our worry in that moment, but they don't have a real impact on reducing our stress level, right? We actually are equipped to reduce stress when we activate our body's natural relaxation response. And so we've talked a little bit about some of those techniques that you can use. And so to relax your body, you can use that deep breathing technique that I just talked about. I think Penny put the link in the chat. Massage or self-massage, right? So just even taking a minute to just massage your hands, for example, is going to activate your natural relaxation response in your body, right? Meditation does the same thing, quiets our and stills our brain. Yoga, stretching, music, so really nice music can do that for you. Aromatherapy and essential oils can do that. Visualization and nature. So these are really good things that help us to connect to our relaxation response. And you can feel how relaxation and worry don't really can't happen at the same time, right? When we're relaxed, we're not worried, right? And so it's a really great practice to start putting in place. Number 6, release the shame by sharing your worry. Worry is isolating. Our inner critic often shames us into feeling we must deal with our worry alone for fear of judgment, of being seen as weak or too sensitive or incapable or flaky or whatever other awful words your inner critic has for you, right? And being able to get out of our heads is so important when we are over worrying. That's that rumination piece, right? That it just it builds and builds and builds. We need to get out of that. That's where shame starts to fill our headspace. Not only are you worrying about something, but you also feel shame about the fact that you can't solve it, or shame that you can't figure out what to do next. Being able to get out of our heads is so important when we're over worrying. So make sure the people you are sharing your concerns with are really good listeners, offer feedback that feels helpful, and are kind, gentle, and compassionate. So pick people specifically for you, right? It doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily just the people in your home or people at work. You really want to look for those people specifically who are going to do what you need so that you can actually stop feeling the judgment piece as well as stop the worrying, right? There's so much shame in worry. Talking to supportive people also helps us feel connected and loved, which quiets worry, right? That sense of belonging and people being there for us is going to help us feel like we're not alone in this. And so then we can come up with solutions. So there's a question. I thought it's not good to keep talking about your stuff to people. So it depends. I love this. And then it was answered. There are people that you can trust and talk to and others that you shouldn't, that you can't. And I agree with that. It's such a powerful, both things. We don't want to overshare our stuff. We have to get out of just constantly feeling the worry. So you need people who are going to say, hey, it's okay. Here's some solutions we can work on together. Or, I'm not sure, let's figure out whether that's a rational or irrational thought right now, right? You need people who are going to be strong enough to interrupt, like we talked about, right? That interruption is really important, but who are going to do it in a way that feels compassionate and good to you, right? My job as a coach is to absolutely interrupt people's longstanding default patterns that they are in, right? But I definitely do it from a place where I'm not hurting people, right? It's so easy to say, that's so stupid. Like if someone says that to you, you never want to talk to them about your stuff ever again, right? Because that's not helpful. That feels worse. That brings shame. So you want to make sure that you're finding the right people. Yeah, love that, right? So Brene Brown has this idea in her book, Daring Greatly, I believe it's in there, that you have a 1-inch piece of paper. And on that 1-inch piece of paper are the people who you trust and who will help you with your shame resilience, right? They're going to be the people who've got your back, who are going to get you out of that ruminating thinking, who have really good ability to give you feedback, but not judge you, right? They're non-judgmental. And those are the only people you go to. So you don't tell other people at all, you've got those names on that piece of paper. Carry that around in your wallet. I did that at the beginning. When I first read that, I did that for a whole bunch of years, right? Because it's a reminder to you not to ask the people for help who always put you down. That's a habit we have, right? To perpetuate the idea that we're making mistakes, that we should be in shame, that this worry way of being is the only way of life, right? We don't like to change. So even when things are not serving us, we stay in the comfort of things that don't feel good. So when we're in that readiness to make changes, to put in new practices, we really have to have people who are going to help us to stand by our next steps. All right, number 7, reflect on your beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. What you believe about yourself and the world impacts your thoughts, feelings, and actions. If you believe the world is a dangerous place, you will process everything through that filter. If you believe you are capable of handling big decisions, for example, you will process everything through that filter, right? So our beliefs are really our processing, our lens, right, for how we're going to show up. It is important to be very clear about what beliefs you hold. It's very important to reframe your negative thoughts. It's also really important to notice and allow your feelings to come and go. And all of those things, when you do that, allow you to act from an empowered place. Your beliefs lead to your thoughts, which lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, right? They're all interconnected. Our inner critic has a very strong hold on our thoughts and beliefs when we stay in our unconscious default setting mode, right? When we are not aware, then our thoughts and beliefs are often extremely impacted by that harsh critical voice. So when we understand and quiet that harsh, long-standing voice, that is a key to releasing from chronic worry, right? So much of our worry is about lack, whether that's in ourselves or around us. And our inner critic loves lack. It thrives in it. And so when we can understand and quiet that and really come from a place of inner wisdom, things change dramatically for us. We trust ourselves. We make decisions from a place of our core values. We believe in ourselves in a strong way, even when we make mistakes. We have confidence, right? So those things quiet worry. Number 8, make rest and sleep a priority. Having a restful mind and body promotes calm and, I turned something on, sorry. There we go. Calm and clarity and steadiness. These are all important states to help us move away from over worrying. Sleep is such an important part of cultivating rest. It is so important to honor how many hours of sleep your body needs each night to operate optimally. So I want you to just put in the chat right now 2 numbers, your optimal number of sleep that you know, like just kind of intuitively, and how many hours of sleep you're getting on average. So your intuitive number and your real-time number. Awesome. Those are close. There we go. Yeah. So some people are working on it, and some people are getting more or less sleep than their real number. Yeah. And so I would say for me, my optimal number is probably 7.5 hours to 8, and I probably get 6. And I'm working on that. That's a work in progress for me, 6.5 maybe. I wake up often, so that I try to go back to sleep. That's a big thing. But I'm really working on trying to have that beautiful, restful sleep. It's so big, right? Rest is any behavior aimed at increasing physical and mental well-being, right? Just giving your body and your mind this quiet. It can be active, such as going for a walk outside, or passive, such as taking 10 minutes to sit down and just do some deep breathing or read a book or have a tea, right? So it doesn't have to be sleep only to rest. But when we rest, it helps our body, it helps us to be able to cope better, right? Creates resilience, and all of those things are going to help us to not be as worrisome. Number 9, move your body. Oh, body movement helps us to physically release from holding on to things that are negative, such as worry, right? That makes perfect sense. So working out, stretching, yoga, cycling, playing sports, or any other type of physical movement helps us focus on the present moment, helps our body produce extremely helpful hormones and chemicals that it releases when we do physical work, and helps us to physically feel unstuck, which then helps us to feel mentally and emotionally less stuck, right? So here's a simple technique that I use. I use it before I come on every call. I use it before I talk in public, because of course you can imagine the worry and nervousness that happens for a person when they have to speak in front of a bunch of people, like that kind of joke that everything's going to go wrong, or you're going to be, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know what I really think about anymore, but I do these things, this technique specifically, and it seems to work. So I love to shake my body. So just before I come on every Monday, I spend time just shaking out my hands. You guys can do it with me if you want. Shake out my arms, right? I shake my hips. I'm usually standing. I shake out my legs, each one separately, and then I shake my head, right? And so then I'm like just shaking, right? And so every single time before I come on here, I do that. How does that feel? Can you all feel like a kind of surge of energy in your body that feels totally different than it did before? Yes, excellent. It's just that fast. We didn't even do it for 10 seconds, right? So you're in worry, shake your body, right? Just kind of go through each thing, even just shaking your hands, right? Even just doing a little shake is going to change, because it just releases a whole bunch of stuff. It gets your body moving, right? We in our muscles, right? And so when we move them around, it changes everything. It's amazing. So yeah, number 10, focus on what you can control, accept what is out of your control. Oh, sorry, Rose, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, sorry, that's very interesting. When you talked about moving the body, it reminded me of shaking, and why it's important, because my dog always, after he's stressed a little, he just shakes.
Love it.
It's
Yeah.
so funny. It's like natural thing. Like he comes in, he shakes himself, and then he's relaxed.
Exactly. You watch a dog always do that, right? They always just shake out. Shake it out. I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Number 10, focus on what you can control and accept what is out of your control. What you focus on matters so much. When we let go of trying to control other people and situations that are out of our control, we start to accept that the uncertainty is a normal part of the human experience. So much of worry is about trying to make things certain. We want things to feel like we can predict them, like we can decide, like as if we have the power in our worry to make things exact, and we don't. We don't even know what's going to happen in 5 minutes from now. Even with a script, I have no idea what I'm going to say in 10 seconds, right? Certainty is not possible, right? The only thing that is certain is uncertainty. So it's really important for us to embrace that, to learn to embrace that, and be in acceptance. When we embrace that so much is out of our control, we stop being so reactive to people and situations and learn to respond in a more compassionate and understanding way to ourselves and others. And we worry less about things and people. Placing emphasis on what is in our power to change and focusing less on what is out of our control leads to feelings of hope and strength and positivity, right? And when we're in that spiral, suddenly we're building momentum that way. And so then the worry spiral gets smaller and smaller and smaller. 11, do something you love. Joy is natural and always accessible part of our being. When we are in rumination about things, we often deny ourselves the right to have fun or do things we love, almost like a punishment. So we feel like it's essential for us to just be in the negativity of what's going on. In fact, if you can quiet those thoughts long enough to start doing something you like, you'll find that you will feel more grateful, optimistic, and you'll be a better problem solver. So it's counterintuitive in the moment because our critic is telling us you can't have fun. Don't have fun while you're worrying. But in fact, doing things that feel good for you, that you love, that you enjoy, is actually going to make you better at solving the problems that you're going through. So I want you to write a list after the call. You can write maybe one thing down right now that brings you joy, that are easy to do on a daily basis. So I don't want you to write like travel the world. You can do that too, but that can't happen on a daily basis. We need the little small joyful things. So for me, like I have my Mandela coloring book right beside me on my desk, and I'm working on a page right now. So I have all my Sharpies out that are for that particular page so that it's easily accessible when I'm feeling a little bit stressed out or overwhelmed or just want a break, right? I can just easily do that, right? I have a playlist that I always have because I love music because it makes me feel joyful. There we go. Swimming, walking to the park, reading a good book, hugs from my grandchildren after school, beautiful. Putting music on and dancing around my house like no one is watching, exactly. Calling a friend, going to the gym, walking in nature, doing yoga, reading. Excellent. So you want to build this like almost like a library that you can just go and choose from at any time, right? And that way, really, we're going to just be able to embrace the idea of joy even when things feel challenging. So yeah, number 12, which is the last one, is talk to professionals. If worrying is something that is really affecting you, I encourage you to talk to a therapist, a coach, someone who works in specific modalities that can help you. If you feel like your mental, emotional, or physical well-being is in jeopardy, it is important to get the help you need, right? This is not something you have to suffer alone. Worrying is not a state of being, right? So if it is constant, it is time to change that for you. So often we are in negative thought patterns and we isolate ourselves and we feel we should be able to fix things alone, right? Should is in gigantic air quotes. We don't need to do any of this by ourselves, right? Find the help that best supports you so that you can stop feeling worry, stress, and anxiety and start living and thriving. You deserve that, right? For me, I have always done therapy and I have coaches and I do a lot of stuff talking because that's one of the ways that I communicate well. And so one of the things that I did when worry was a really big part of my life is I did something kind of outside of what I had done for so long. So I started doing Reiki, which was really helpful. So you can find all different practices and professionals who can help you. All right. So we have, that was a long one. I went long. Are there any specific questions that anyone wants to ask before I share a little bit of good news? And if you do, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat, or talk to me after. Marianne, is it okay if I do a shout out for you? So my beautiful friend Marianne is on the call. You can wave just so everyone can see you. She just published she's just been a published author this weekend. Her book is called Ignite Your Wisdom, and her chapter in the book is spectacular. And I just wanted to shout it out because it's just so wonderful to see people in our community just thriving in such beautiful ways. She shares about loss and pain and how that has transformed her life. It is just spectacular. So Marianne, if you'd like to put the link, you can get her book on Amazon, but if you want to put the link in there, I'd love for you to do that. Thank you for being on the call, and there we go. Yay. So good. Everyone, let's do a big cheer for you went, yeah. Awesome. Okay. Anyone else have a question? And go ahead. Is that a high five? No, that's a hands up, right?
Yes, it is. Sorry,
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
Calling on me.
No worries.
To learn my name again.
I know, exactly.
All right. So actually what I was going to say is I'm not a big worrier. I have a lot of other attributes, but that's not one of them. So what I was, but I just wanted to share how your wisdom is so spot on, because what I chose is something that I do deal with a lot, and that's regret. So you were talking about worry being us not being in the present, being in the future. And it occurred to me that you were saying at some point mentioned that regret is being in the past. And neither one of them serves us. And so I was able to replace regret for worry as we were going through today's talk. And it, everything just applied so beautifully. So thank you.
Thank you for that reflection. And I love that, just taking the pieces that really work for you and figuring out a way for it to really mesh. And it's true, regret is all about the past and worry is all about the future, and neither serves us, right? So present moment thinking is so powerful. Thanks, Nina. Oh, sorry. Okay, I want to share a few things that are coming up for me over the next 6 weeks. I'm offering 2 special coaching sessions to you. The first is quieting your inner critic. This session is going to help you to understand the deep-rooted origins of your harsh, critical voice, learn how to notice it, and begin to quiet it by replacing it with more empowering and uplifting ones. And the second coaching session that I'm offering is called Aligning with Your Core Values. And in this session, we will identify and define and create action steps so that you are aligned with your top 5 core values, so that you can make empowered decisions in your personal and professional life. Each of them is 90 minutes. They're one-on-one coaching sessions with me. And if you want more information, you can check out those links or send a private message to me in the chat, or connect with me on Meetup, or send me an email. But I would love for you, if these things, what we've been talking about over the last few weeks, really, you really want to get into a deeper place where you're examining yourself, both of these are going to help you. All right, so absolutely feel free to reach out. I'm sure we'll be posting them regularly in all the places that I show up. If you are not in my Facebook group already, my Facebook group is called Everyday Self-Love. So you'll find we continue this conversation there. You can follow me on Instagram at Carla Life Coach. And I look so forward. And if you're not on my mailing list, also, I'm telling so many things. Penny's like frantically trying to get all the links up. Thank you. You can absolutely join my mailing list to get more information about all the things that I share on here. It's been such a pleasure to be with all of you. Go ahead. And go ahead.
Okay, so I was in the grocery store the other day, and I in the checkout I saw this card that was just so beautiful. And oh, I'm going to show it to you. So here we go.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yes. So and I thought, oh, what a lovely card. Wouldn't it be nice if I had someone to send that to me, or someone that I could send it to? And then I thought, well, wait a minute, I have someone. In fact, I have both of those people. So I bought it for myself.
Yeah.
And now I have to send it to myself. I haven't done that part yet.
Yeah, you don't have to send it to yourself. You can just have it. I love that you thought of yourself. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful. And it's so true, right? We're the people we need to love the most. And when we do that, we get all the love. I appreciate you all being here so much. Have a beautiful start to your week. And I'm here, we'll be here for the long weekend Mondays. So I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you so much and take good care. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Mm-hmm.